Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be starting to have word problems that have more than one math function that you need to do. You might need to add and then multiply. You might need to subtract and then multiply. Okay, so there are going to start being word problems with multiple steps, with multiple types of math work to do. So we're going to write down in today's lesson the steps for going through a word problem that has more than one kind of math that you need to do to solve it. Okay, so whatever date that you're writing this down. This is for topic 2, but keep in mind what I'd like you to do is if you have a sticky note, sorry, there's the camera, use it as a bookmark. So in your spiral notebook, you can always come back. See how it sticks out? It's easy to find it again, okay? Because you're going to have, for all the rest of our math that we do in 5th grade, you're going to have steps that have word problems that have multi-steps, okay? So here's our essential question. We've written essential question enough times that I'm not going to write it anymore. We should know that EQ means essential question, okay? So here's your essential question. How can I solve problems that require, problems that need more than one step to solve? Okay? So please remember you are writing it like I'm writing it. This is what's called a hanging indent. You don't write anything under the EQ. So keywords that we're looking at here, we're looking at more than one step. Okay, you've got to keep that in mind. All right, so we're doing a flow map. So we see step by step how you do this each time. Okay, so first step. Now, I write the words and then I draw the box around it so that the box fits. Okay, I don't want to draw a little box and then I have a lot to write and then it runs out. It looks messy. Okay, so our first step is read the problem at least 2 times. Okay, 2 times. Now box it up. Okay, then we move to our second step. Okay, our second step is to highlight or underline keywords and circle key numbers. Now, if you mix that up, the highlight police and circle police are not going to come to your house, okay? But the point of this step is pull out that essential information, that important information, okay? Do something with your keywords, do something with the numbers, okay? So they stand out for you, okay? Highlight or underline key words. Circle key numbers. Okay, so I'm going to box that up for our second spot on our flow map. But before I move on to the third step, I am going to do what that says. I'm going to highlight. And I am going to underline and circle, just in case there's any confusion as to what those words mean. Okay, so let's move to the third. Remember, I know I write faster than you guys tend to. Okay, but that's the beauty of video. Pause it, catch up, press play again. Okay, so we're on third. And our third step is to ask yourself, what's the problem asking me to find? Sometimes it can be really, really long problem, lots of words, lots of backstory even, but you got to boil it down. You got to say, okay, what's the end question here? What am I supposed to try and figure out as the end result? Okay? Ask yourself, what is the problem, meaning the word problem, asking me to find? Okay? Box it up. Okay, moving to the fourth step. Now this seems like you're like, oh my gosh, how many steps do we have? But you know what? You need to do this. If you really want to try and get it right and understand what's going on, you gotta do these things. Now, the more practice you have doing them, the faster these things will go. And it won't seem like so many steps. You'll just breeze right through them. Okay, so we're going to read it 2 times. We're going to pull out that important information. We're going to ask ourselves, what am I actually needing to do here? What's the final answer that's needed? Okay, then we move to the fourth box of our flow map. And it is what operation or operations, because remember this is multi-step, are you going to use? Okay, now we have to remember what operation means. Okay, please remember when I'm talking about operation, we're talking about adding. That's the plus symbol. We're talking about subtracting. That's the subtracting symbol. We're talking about multiplying. Okay, obviously I'm not writing the ing part, okay? That's the X, or if you want to get fancy-dancy, a dot. We'll get to that after Christmas break. Okay, just keep it in here, hang it off to the side, think about it later. But know that a dot can represent multiplication. And the final operation is when we can divide. And that's our division symbol, or the division house. Okay, so let's box this up. Step 4 is complete. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to step 5. There are only 6, so we're almost done. Okay, I'm going to move it up a little bit. Remember, if some of it disappears, rewind the video and watch the beginning part again. All right, so 5th. Okay, the 5th is, can you draw a picture to help yourself understand the problem better? Do I mean lots of colors, like I like to use, or shading and watercolor paints? No. If the word problem talks about bicycles and kids on bicycles, don't even draw a bicycle. Draw a circle that represents the bicycle. Draw a stick figure that represents the person, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. But you need to ask yourself, can I do that to help me understand? Okay? Can you draw a picture to help you understand the problem better? Okay, and let's box that puppy up. Are we putting a dog in a box? No. Okay, just another figure of speech. Okay, we move on to the 6th step. Okay, The sixth step, look at your answer, and you have to ask yourself, does it make sense? You have to check, is it reasonable? And the phrase we use in math a lot is looking for reasonableness. Okay, we'll be using it all year long. You should have heard it before. So if the problem asks you, gives you all this information, and at the end says, how many buses do you need for the field trip? Your answer cannot be 2.5. How do you have half a bus? Right? That doesn't make sense. It could be the right math, but the answer doesn't make sense. How can you have 2.5 buses, right? So then you have to round it up. Rounding, learned that a long time ago, right? Make it 3 buses, because you can't have 2.5 buses. Okay? All right, so here we go. Oh no, I want to change the color. I want it to stand out a little more, because this is really important. Some kids will just breeze through another figure of speech, go through the math real quick and then give an answer, not even think about it again, and move on to the next problem. But this is really important. You get to the end, you get to what you think the answer is, and you have to stop and think. I'm going to be saying that a lot this year too. Stop and think. Does it make sense? Is that reasonable? That's when I'm changing colors. Make it pop. Okay? Look at, your answer and ask yourself, does it make sense? Okay? You need to check reasonableness. Reasonableness. Okay? Super important. Don't just throw any old number down. Go back and look at it and go, does that sound right? Is that good? And then answer it. Okay? So, get it written, bookmark it, so that you can go back and find it again when we get those multi-step